Hello, people. Oh, what am I? Who am I? Am I Ronnie over there at Joe's Classic Video Games? Hello, everybody. I'm kind of jumping in the middle of this one. I mean, not in the middle, at the beginning. This is a repair on a old, and I mean old, 70s, early 70s, I believe, called Gotcha. Gotcha. I'll show you the board in a bit, but as for right now, this board had a lot of work done. I'd say it probably had 10 to 15 chips replaced on the board, and it's a little board the size of a Pong board. And I'd say about 10 to 15 chips were replaced. So the first thing I did was I pulled all of those chips, because some of them didn't look new. Yeah, I pulled all of those chips. I brought them in here to test them on my chip tester, and I went through them all. This many were good, and this many were no good, and most of them are 161s. And just so that I convinced myself, because that's a lot of 161s to not be good, and I probed around on the board for a bit, and I did see some weird floating signals that should be pulled high and stuff like that, and that's just a telltale sign of chips partially shorted to ground. So yeah, that's that. But to convince myself, I brought out my new 161s, and I was like, let me run these through my tester, because I need to convince myself, because that's an awful lot of 161s that are no good. And I started going through these, and these are all good. So yeah, just bad chips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's more like 20 chips replaced. So yeah, 8 of them were no good. And most of them are 161s, and there's a couple 74s in there. And I don't know, a couple other things. This one looks like a brand new 161 that's no good. And this one too. And they're just no good. You can see I can drop them into my tester. Clamp them down. I like to just use auto find. Click auto find, and now it finds it. But look what it's calling it. It's calling it a 7414, 7404. Oh, this must be that. Yeah, this is that HC part. This is yep, that's HC04. I'm going to set that aside. This tester doesn't do very good with the CMOS stuff sometimes, I've found. But anyway, this is one of those 161s that looks new. Clamp that down and then hit auto find, and it just doesn't find anything. I'm not going to use this 04 because it's an HC part. Let me put that back through, because it did not work. It did not work the first time. It might have been, yeah, I think it was just me putting it in as a 7404, to be honest, but it's coming up as 7404. Must have just been a bad connection, I don't know. But I've ran all of these through a couple of times. These 161s are just no good. This is a 9316, which is a 161. Put it in there, clamp it down, hit the button, and it's not found. So yeah, just a bunch of bad chips. Where'd that 04 go? It's right here. Yeah, maybe I will use that. Auto find, yeah. This one's good. I'll put it in the good pile. These are bad. Yeah. Like 2, 4, 6, 7 bad chips. So yeah, so we'll go out. I'll show you the gotcha board. I got the schematic printed for it, so we'll go through it, try to figure out what's going on with it. Alright, and this is the gotcha board. I need to YouTube this and see what it looks like. Hopefully it's on YouTube. It's probably not in MAME. There's no CPU. I know I did do some preliminary poking around on this, and I did find two bad chips. One was a 10 and the other was a 74 right here. They were definitely no good, so I did replace two chips on my own, and then the rest of it was done. And yeah, so all of this. Yep, got the schematic here. So, and I cut two more chips out because I was looking for why I had floating signals that were supposed to be pulled high. And I was like, you know what, stop. I need to stop. Pull all of these chips. I don't know if they're good or not. I did not do this work. So let me pull all of those. I did some beeping around to make sure nothing was shorted. And this is one of those old boards that is pretty easy to work on. Nice big traces, and nothing really tears up too easily. So, but I got a couple that I need to socket right here. No big deal. And I had a lot of bad chips. So I'll start repopulating the good stuff that I do have according to this guy. And yeah, we'll go from there. Get this thing populated with known good parts anyway, and then we can start, you know. Got a good 5.05 volts on the 5-volt rail, so that's good. And yeah, so let's do it. I'm going to get this thing all populated up. Okay, so I have repopulated this thing, turned it on, and it's come up to this. Now I don't know if this is playing off of a mirror, and this is actually the top. Oh, I have this thing flipped upside down, that's right. Hold on a second, let me change this around. From when I did the last black and white that I did was mirrored, so I had to invert everything. So let me flip it back upright. Okay, yeah, I just flipped it around the way it's supposed to be, and we have, this must be our score, and yeah, we got a ball going crazy over here, so I got to try to look this thing up. It looks like we got some scrolling going right there. I don't know what's going on there. I have no idea what this is supposed to look like. Yeah, so I got to do a little research on this and see what it's supposed to. I wonder if my coins do anything. Here's coin. Yeah, that worked. And start. It's counting. Does that mean I'm scoring? Or what's that count all about? I don't get it. I don't gotcha. Yeah, so I'm going to have to just do a little bit of research on this one. But hey, we're getting somewhere. It's doing something. So that's good. Okay, we've made progress. I've weeded out a bunch of the bad parts. I populated with good parts, and I needed a 107. And I thought this 107 was bad that I pulled out of a board. I actually took this out of a parts board. And I thought it was bad because the outputs were floating, but one of the power pin, I believe it was pin 14, was actually out of the socket, out of circuit. So it's actually good. You can probe the outputs on 3 and 2 and then 5 and 6. Yeah. And this was the line that was all goofy before. It was kind of held low, and now it's fine. So yeah, just had some bad parts in there. Cool. All right. So yeah, look at that. It's counting good. That's good. Counts good. Is that like a timer? That must be a timer, huh? Is it going to get up to 99 and then game be over? This must be a one-player game, and that's a timer. We'll wait until it gets up to 99 and see what happens. And I bet you when it rolls over, this little dude, whatever this is, I don't know what this thing is right here, but it'll probably start moving around again. Maybe. I don't know. That's my guess. 97, 98, 99. Yep, there you go. So that works. That part of it is working good, but this can't be right. So we got to figure out what's going on there. So I think I'm done for the night. We've made some good progress. We're getting somewhere. And we'll tackle this thing tomorrow and go over just what's going on. Yeah. All right. You guys have a good night. And we'll see you tomorrow. Okay, so we just saw what this thing is supposed to look like on dice. And remember, we have this looks perfect. This guy looks okay. The plus symbol is fine. It's just the pursuer, the square right now is non-existent. But it was going crazy. So our pursuer is good, or our pursued. The plus symbol is fine. It's just the square is not right. There it is. You can see, yeah. So I got to looking at the schematic here, and you have okay. And I kind of think this is the part of the schematic where the pursuer and the pursued stuff is, because here's your inputs from your joysticks, and that's all processed through here, and then that is put into these counters and then come out into this circuitry. So I'm thinking that this circuitry right here is the pursuer and the pursued. So I'm going to just start poking around on stuff in this section and start looking for weirdness. So yeah, I'm going to do that, and I'll come back if I find weirdness. Okay, I have found my first bad part. Right here is a 161. It's K1, and if we look at the schematic, K1 is right here. Yeah. And it outputs, it's got to just be in this it goes to video, part of the video, and it comes back around here, and it's connected to, you know, this circuitry right here, all this discrete circuitry. But yeah, this guy right here, this one, L1 is right next to it. L1's right next to it, and if we look at L1, there's no clear. Here's the clock signal. It's basically the horizontal sync. It's 15.6 kilohertz. And here's the enable pulses. This one's high. This one is pulsing, but we've got a count there. That's good. And we got a load signal, so we should be definitely getting some counting and loading and stuff like that. And we are. Here's the least significant. Here's the second, third. The fourth bit is always high, but that it could be perfectly normal because it has a load, and this is the output. So we could be loading 8. It could be loading 8 the whole time. That's why this bit is high. The most significant bit is high the whole time, and we have a load pulse. I just don't know without looking at it. Now I'll move on to K1, the one that I know is bad. There's no clear. It's got the same horizontal sync clock. Here's the count enable pulse, load signal, and the other enable is always high, so this thing should be counting. Here's the least significant bit. It's low all the time. The next bit, low all the time. They're all low except for this one's high all the time. And this is the carry bit, looks like that. So this thing is just internally no good. Yeah, so that guy is our first casualty. I'm gonna keep going, keep looking. Okay, a couple chips down the line, I found another one that's no good. This is a 00 at E1, and I don't know where E1 is. Let's see if we can find it really quick. E1. Is that E1 right there? Yeah, 00. Uh-oh, can't see that. It's right here, E1. If we look at E1, remember this is not AND, so you need 2 1s to get a 0. So this is 2 zeros. We should have high all the time, and we have high all the time, which we didn't have before. Okay. Something was corrupting this because it looks fine now. My guess is, yeah, you need 2 ones to get a 0, so this should not be high all the time. Well, I mean, unless those aren't matching up, that's possible. I don't like this pulsing. Yeah, it looks fine now. Yeah, this one, it did look all goofy, so I don't know what's going on. That line is connected to this counter, so I kind of think that this counter might be funky. Something's funky here. So I think I might replace this counter, because this is the line that was goofy right here. And now it's fine, but it goes and it's connected to right here. And these counters are pretty notorious, so this is probably a culprit right here. Yeah, so I think I'll just replace this part instead of this. This is probably fine. This is probably corrupting it. Yeah. It might be a good idea just to replace these 4 counters right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because these things are problematic. I think I'll do that. I'll just replace these 4 chips. And that is these 2 counters, and it's these 2 counters. I believe the other 2 have already been replaced. J and H3 and E and F3. Yeah, those ones have already been replaced. There, there, and there. These 4. So I'll go ahead and replace these 4. And I believe that'll probably fix it. Let's try it out. Okay, I have replaced these 4 161s, right? And we have the plus symbol and the square in the maze acting proper. And if I start, let's coin and start. And now it's counting up. And these guys are just sitting still waiting to be commanded. So that is actually working the way that it should. So what I want to do now is I have up, down, left, and right for both the right and, player 1 and player 2. I want to put some DB9 connectors on here so that I can hook up my Atari joystick and move those around. And I have to hook up my external sound amplifier. We'll get the sound amplified, and we will be able to move around. We already know it's counting. We want to check hit detection. We want to check the audio, make sure that the beeping works properly. Where the 2 get closer to each other, that beeps faster type of thing. Scores right. And then we'll be able to put a bow on this one. Alright, I'll be right back. Alright, so I have a couple DB9s wired up now for my Atari joystick. I got the external amplifier hooked up, and we will, as you can see, I've been playing. I got good news. a little bit bright, isn't it? No, it's just the camera. I'm going to turn the light off. There you go. So let's go ahead and play a game. I'm moving the plus around right now. Up, down, left, right. Closer you get, the faster the beep is. The thing is, you can stay on them and you'll rack up more points. The idea is to be constantly running away from each other. Now I'll change it to the other joystick, the other port. Okay. Now I'll move the square. The square moves a little bit faster, it looks like. Yeah, when the square hits the plus, it kind of spawns a little bit away from the plus, so that you can't do that racking up points. Yeah. The square is the pursuer. That's it. We have a successful repair. Interesting thing about this game is I believe it is the first maze-based game. Gotcha. It's just a game of cat and mouse. That's what the flyer should have been, was a cat chasing a mouse in a maze. That's what the flyer should have been. That would have been a better flyer than what they had, which was a guy chasing a woman dressed in like a nightgown or something. Kind of like, really, huh? Okay. Anyway, yeah, gotcha. Working. It had a handful of bad chips. There was a lot of bad chips that were actually socketed in this thing. And yeah, just a lot of bad parts, but we got it all squared out, squared away, taken care of, good to go. Alright guys, as always I want to give a big shout out and thank you to everybody who helps support the channel and support the preservation of all of these classics, and by being a channel member, either a channel member or a Patreon supporter. I got a lot of extra miscellaneous files and stuff uploaded up on Patreon. If you're interested in that, I do appreciate it, or just want to lend support to the channel for what I'm doing here. It's greatly appreciated. Appreciate every one of you. So as always, I hope you all have a great day, and we'll see you on the next Classic Arcade Repair. Bye for now.